Come on, blink. You know you want to. Hi everybody, welcome back. Marcy here, aka Princess Rainy Cloud, and today, as you can see, we have a very interesting video to talk about. This is a sighting that I had of a Sasquatch that happened last February, and it just absolutely blew my mind. So this was one I just happened to see out my window while I was working in my office doing a project for school, and took a break, and whoa, blew my mind. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. One of my Sasquatch videos, I really talked about how I have been living in a residence that overlooks the forest. And as of today, it has been exactly a year since I moved in. Well, my very first sighting that I had living in this place was on Christmas Eve. And I had a very small face looking up at me from the bushes in the forest. Well, that was just the beginning of a very interesting journey discovering these creatures and realizing that they come and visit the forest by my house very frequently. And it has just been amazing. So today is one of the more distinctive sightings that I have had that were it just blew my mind, because as I've mentioned in my previous videos, they are very difficult to see in the brush because they blend so well, and they are masters at camouflage. Plain and simple, their fur almost seems to reflect a green color, and I have heard this from other researchers, but this one I referred to her lovingly as Big Black Mama, because she is absolutely huge, and she's one of the first ones I saw. But the first time I saw her, I didn't realize quite what I was looking at, and I'm going to show you a picture right here of one of the very first videos that I had captured right after I had moved in, during that time while I was just setting up my place. And I spent a lot of time looking out the window. Of course, the forest is beautiful, so it's very captivating, but just hanging up say draperies or whatever it might be, cleaning and just putting my place together, I would stop and just kind of stare out the window. Well, this particular photo right here was one of the very first ones. This is when I really knew there was something, and I could tell it was something, and I suspected it was a Sasquatch because I had seen that small one, and I kind of started putting two and two together. And as I kept watching and seeing the various movements and the changes within the forest, I realized that this was definitely a creature. And so I took these photos, I took these videos, and kind of just put them away because I wasn't sure what to do with it and what to think of it. Well, one afternoon I was sitting in my office because I have my second bedroom set up as an office, and three of my rooms overlook this forest, my bedroom, and then also this second bedroom. And it is just so beautiful. I put my desk in the corner of my office so that it's kind of sitting at a diagonal, and I can look past my computer, past my desk, and see the entrance, the door to my office, but then I'm also at an angle to where if I glance off to my right side, I can easily look out the window and onto the forest. While I'm working on projects in my office, I will take a break and just kind of sit there and look out because we have so much wildlife. I've seen deer and possums, raccoons. We have so many different types of birds, squirrels, and they're always carrying on out there and putting on a show. And I'm just a very nature loving kind of person to begin with. So it is, it's just a natural thing that I gravitate towards. Well, it was one afternoon as I was working on a project for school. I was sitting at my desk, and you can only look at the computer for so long, so I took a break. I just sat there and I turned my attention towards the forest. When you're first new in an environment, such as like looking out onto a view of the forest, there's so many different things to see. And as the day progresses and the sun moves and the shadows change, sometimes it's a little hard to distinguish what is what. And so you kind of spend some time, especially that first month and a half that I lived here, I spent a lot of time just kind of looking out onto the forest, especially after the first, couple sightings that I had of these creatures. So of course you're always like, in fact, there for a while, I was like obsessed, and I didn't see anything, but you're always looking because once you see it, you're like, it could be out there at any point, any time. So I would get really, really just, I spent a lot of time before I had to go back to school where I had free time, and I would just find myself gazing out there on the forest. So I got really good at discerning what it looked like throughout the day as the shadows changed and varied and moved, right? So this particular day, I was actually quite used to the way the shadows would switch, and it had been kind of an overcast day that day. So there wasn't a lot of sunlight coming in, but anyone who's ever been out in the forest as it starts becoming dusk and the sun starts, setting, that the sun seems to set obviously quicker in the forest because of all the trees, so it tends to get darker quicker. There's this one particular tree stand where one of the trees is broken off at a rather high height. You can see where it kind of creates a V pattern, but one of them is like completely broken off before, right at the same height where the other one kind of starts going off to branch off into the the higher branches. And it was between those two trees that I saw a dark figure moving. And at first it was lower, and then I wasn't sure if it was a shadow. And so I'm going to show the first clip that kind of shows what I'm talking about. I just became very conscious of keeping something to record with close by. So I immediately grabbed my phone and I just started recording it. So it started off as this dark shadow, but then it seemed like it was moving to me, and it seemed like it was changing shape rather quickly and could not be contributed to the light because, as I mentioned, it was overcast that day. While yes, the shadows as the sun changes in the sky and the light patterns change, it can create shadows where you think maybe there's something there that isn't. But it changed shape so quickly and moved in a different pattern that wasn't consistent with just the varying of the shadows of light. So I continued to focus in on it. I continued to record, and I recorded a footage that I still to this day cannot believe my eyes when I watch it, when I look at it. And it took me, at first I looked at it, and I want to play it for y'all now. So as you watch this, you'll notice that she is standing, and you can see the dark head. At first it just kind of looks like a lump, And then as you're looking between those two trees, you can see all of a sudden a head. And you see a face that has she has very distinctive ridges on her forehead. She has a very distinctive nose. And then when it dawned on me what I was looking at is when I saw the two eyes. Now, I've heard accounts from so many people, especially, from researchers or just eyewitness accounts from people who have seen Sasquatch that say they see these glowing red eyes. And I hear about the accounts where people are like trying to say that no, it's not a light shining off them. They're just glowing like lights from within the Sasquatch. And to me, that just it always sounded absolutely ridiculous. However, I have seen many different types of animals whose eyes glow so brightly that it could be misconstrued as looking like there is an actual light coming from the eye. I've even had a cat. I've had many cats in my life that they all reflect a different color. One I had reflected a green color, one reflected a blue color, and then I had one that reflected a very vibrant, like orangish red. And his eyes were so big that when they would reflect that light, it looked like two lights, but it was just simply his eyes reflecting back the light from the environment. And so anyways, when I saw these two eyes, they were not red. They were, as you can see in this video, they were a very light yellowish gold reflection, and it really plays off contrasts with her very, very black hair, her very black skin. She's one of the most distinctive creatures that I have seen in this forest. And I have not seen her recently, but when she is around, you cannot mistake her. And you'll notice that she looks you can see the similarities between this footage as well as that footage I just showed you that I captured when I first moved here. I think she was like sitting in the brush and all I could see was part of her head. But here you can see her hair. You can see her forehead where her hair comes up, and she's got that very, very kind of like that cone-shaped crest. And if you'll notice, looking to where it's more between the trees, she's holding a baby in her left arm. And you can see it between the trees, and you have to take a really, really good look at it. I've also took a still from this video, and I have outlined her. I've also outlined the baby so you can see what I'm talking about. But when you take a good look at this, you can see that this baby, it resembles, the first thing I thought when I saw it is like, this thing resembles an Ewok. I know that just sounds crazy. And if I had not had this, I would not believe it myself. So I totally get it if you think this is just crazy talk. But look at it, watch it closely. You can see that this is a mother carrying a young one. And the baby isn't real young. I would guesstimate that it's kind of like the equivalent of a toddler maybe. But it's a bigger, because I've seen smaller ones since I've been here on other occasions, but this particular baby looks like it could be, somewhere in the realm equivalent to maybe a 2-year-old human. I don't know, but you can see that it looks like an Ewok. And then she just, she reminds me, her forehead and the crests on her face and the way the ridges are in her skin and her nose, she has a very distinctive look. She kind of reminds me of the dragon character from How to Train Your Dragon. That's first thing I thought of when I saw her. It just blew my mind. But that tree that she's standing next to is what makes this even more profound of a sighting, because that tree is very tall. So I'm going to show you a picture of the tree. Obviously I zoomed in on this so that I could get a better look at her. But looking at this picture of this tree and these particular, the way the trees are situated, it is a tall tree. And she's kind of bent over a little bit below the top. Now it could be the angle, because as I've mentioned previously, I'm up higher kind of looking down into the forest, hence the reason that I'm able to see so well over that lower brush and that scrub brush and the thicket part of this forest. So I had to estimate that the top of that tree, where it's broken off at, my estimation is gotta be like close to 15 feet. I don't know. I mean, I haven't gone out there and measured it. It is not somewhere I really want to go. And as I mentioned, I should be a little bit more courageous and go out there. But if in fact they do come there more on a frequent basis, or if they happen to be out there and I don't realize it, I would never want to scare them, and I would never want to threaten them and make them feel that they are not safe there, or have me, moving around in their space. Not to mention the fact that it's a little intimidating, obviously, but I really don't need to, because I have a much better view from up here and I don't want to scare them off. So I'm not lacking any kind of visuals, and I think that if I went down in there with them, I would probably scare them off. But just from looking at the surrounding trees, knowing approximately how tall the lower brush is, I would have to go with an estimate, plus the fact that it was the tip of it's kind of even with, laying down on my balcony. I have to guess it's somewhere between 12 and 15 feet. That would be my guess. So that is astounding. And that just shows just how large these creatures really are. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, you hear of people reporting that they've seen, Sasquatch that are 15 feet high. And I just wrote it off to the fact that people are terrible sometimes about estimating. And they've even done tests to see if people can, how good they are at like estimating the height of something, in a quick passing glance. So I do know that perception can be quite off from, the majority of the average eyewitness, especially if it's a brief and quick sighting. But this is something that it's right there. It's always there for me. And I've had the ability to look out and check it out. So I don't know. I wanted to share this with you because I just found it amazing. And it just goes to show that there is a breeding population of Sasquatches that keeps the species going, a relative viable population of them to where they can breed with various groups. And whatever this creature is, it reproduces, it has young ones. As I've mentioned before, I've seen various ages to them. From what I've seen, the whole clan plays a role. They're much more family-oriented, group-oriented. They have from what I can see, and I'm going only by what I've observed, and it isn't extensive, but the things that I've seen really kind of let me know that they are a very structured social group. They're a very structured family group. They migrate together. I think that there's specific ones that go off and hunt for the group. And I mean, it's just very interesting. So I wanted to share that with y'all. Sorry for the wait for this video. I know it was a while coming. I've been trying to put things together. So hopefully I've got some new footage that I really want to share that I thought was just amazing that I just caught a few days ago. So that one will be coming up soon as well. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment in the bottom. Let me know what you think. Have you seen anything like this? And what are your thoughts on the Sasquatch family structure. And have you ever had any kind of these experiences where you've actually seen a mama and her baby together? So what a magical experience it is. And again, keep respecting the Sasquatch, treat him with love, and care for the forest, all our forest friends, and as well as our environment, so that we can keep our earth healthy and protect both our forest friends as well as ourselves. So thanks again for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.